have against people who are different anyway?
Esmeralda, you are one of the most underrated Disney characters ever. The Hunchback of Notre Dame is often overlooked by Disney fans because it's so serious. But some fans are missing out because you are one of the best Disney women ever. You're fighting for your people's rights even though all the odds are stacked against you. And let's be honest, you have some of the best clapbacks in the entire Disney universe.
I have chores to do. It was nice seeing you again. Oh.
Disney characters are known for being memorable, but some of the most legendary moments are their witty clapbacks. There are some Disney characters who are just really good at delivering a quick burn. Keep watching to find out which Disney lady is the fiercest of them all.
When a woman says later, she really means not ever.
In 1995, Disney released a new Disney princess movie, but it was different from all its predecessors. Pocahontas was the first princess of color to get her own movie since Jasmine was the secondary character in Aladdin. And Pocahontas was such a cool character. She is one of the most empowered princesses ever. She saves her people from the colonists and totally rocks John Smith's world. But the Powhatan princess is likable for a lot more reasons than her epic songs and storyline. She has sarcasm and clapbacks down to an art. Pocahontas is expected to marry a powerful man in their tribe, but Kocoum isn't exactly her type. He's stoic and kind of boring. Pocahontas' friend thinks Kocoum is a total hottie, but our princess isn't feeling it. She doesn't hold back at all. She says,
"I especially love the smile,"
and delivers it in a perfectly sarcastic tone. Kocoum doesn't really smile. He doesn't know how to paint with all the colors of the wind, so Pocahontas just has no time for him.
but he's so serious.
Alice in Wonderland is a wild animated film from Disney's classic era. It's based on the famous novel. Alice is a curious little girl who falls down a hole into a really bizarre world. An important part of the movie is when she stumbles upon a tea party. The party is hosted by the Mad Hatter, and he's, well, mad. He's more than a little nutty, but there's a lot more to him than meets the eye. The Mad Hatter is one of the wisest characters in the movie. Forget the caterpillar and the Cheshire Cat. The Mad Hatter likes to speak the truth, but he sounds nutty when he does. One of the best lines is a clap back to Alice. Tells her,
"If you don't think, you shouldn't talk."
"Isn't that the truth?" We bet you can think of a lot of people you'd like to say that same clap back to. Too many people just don't think before they speak.
Shut up!
But the Mad Hatter totally calls Alice out on it. This little bit of wisdom is one that has totally stuck with us over the years.
Let's change the subject.
Sometimes the best way to insult someone is when they aren't aware of what you're doing. And Belle from Beauty and the Beast is a master at those subtle clapbacks. Poor Belle. She is really smart because she spends all her free time reading. The most popular guy in town is interested in her, but only because she's beautiful. He doesn't appreciate her brain. Gaston is basically the worst type of guy. He's shallow and dumb, and he thinks way too highly of himself. Belle keeps trying to turn him down politely, but Gaston just isn't getting the message. There are some people that you have to let down gently so they don't react badly. Look what happens when Belle stands up to him later in the movie. He is so angry, he goes to attack the guy she loves. But early on, she tells him,
You are positively primeval.
Why, thank you, Belle.
It's not a compliment. She's saying he hasn't evolved and is nothing more than a brute. But he doesn't know what the word means, so he thinks it's a compliment.
He's no monster, Gaston. You are.
We are so excited for the new Mulan movie that comes out in 2020, but that doesn't mean we don't love the 1998 version. The original Mulan is one of Disney's funniest movies. A lot of the humor is thanks to Mushu, Mulan's dragon, who is voiced by Eddie Murphy. Mushu is a great companion, but he is full of sass. He does really help Mulan out as she tries to become a soldier, but he gives her grief in the meantime. It's hard to pick which one of Mushu's quips is the best because there are just so many. Mulan is supposed to be a soldier, and she needs to look like an intimidating man so no one finds out she's a girl. When she's getting ready in the military camp, Mushu is determined not to delude her. He tells her,
"Oh, I think my bunny slippers just ran for cover. Come on."
We laugh every time we see this scene. Mulan is only frightening enough to scare bunny slippers. Of course, Mushu eats his words later when Mulan saves all of China.
My little baby is all grown up and saving China.
Disney has been giving us strong female characters for decades, and the Aristocats is just one example. The 1970 movie is about some high society kittens who get kidnapped. The feral tomcat helps them get home. Marie is definitely the star of the show.
Come on, let's all start meowing.
She's a super sassy kitten. She's fancy and she calls herself a lady. Marie is proof that you can be girly while also being tough. She is often up to no good with her brothers, and she is never one to shy away from putting them in their place. Marie's most memorable line is a great mantra for girls everywhere. She says,
Ladies do not start fights, but they can finish them.
She said this to get out of trouble. Of course, there's a good chance she really did start that fight, but Marie holds her head high and stands up for herself. She is one cool cat. This is one of the most memorable Disney quotes ever, and it's definitely the best clapback in Aristocats.
Thank you, Mr. O'Malley, for saving my life.
Princess Leia Organa joined the ranks of Disney princesses a few years ago. Now that Disney owns the Star Wars franchise, Luke and Leia are part of the family. Leia stole our hearts in Episode 4, A New Hope. She might be a princess, but she's one of the toughest characters ever. She's a rebel fighter, and she's got a mouth on her. Of course, that mouth gets her into some trouble at times, but she definitely knows how to insult someone. The best scene in the first Star Wars film is when she confronts General Tarkin. Even though she's been captured, it's clear that she has the upper hand when it comes to intellect. First, she compares Darth Vader to a dog who is being held on a leash by Tarkin.
I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash.
Then she straight up tells the general that he smells.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
All he could say was,
You don't know how hard I found it signing the order to terminate your life.
but does that get Leia down? No way. She says,
Surprised you had the courage to take the responsibility yourself.
ouch. Which Disney lady is even sassier than Leia? Keep watching to find out.
He's got to follow his own path. No one can choose it for him.
Disney writers have been dishing out the clapbacks long before we had the phrase sick burn. It's good to know that some things never change at Disney, like all the sarcasm. Sleeping Beauty came out in 1959, and it still has some of the most savage quips. Of course, there's Maleficent. She's got no patience for silly fairies, who she thinks are fools. But even those good fairies can deal out the sass. Is that just part of being a fairy? When Flora and Merryweather are making Aurora's dress, they have no patience with each other. Merryweather is wearing the dress while Flora makes adjustments. She tells Flora
it looks awful.
Flora doesn't get mad. She just claps back with an insult of her own.
That's because it's on you, dear.
She's not wrong. Aurora looks lovely in the dress when it's finished. Tensions had to run high in that small cabin in the woods. With 3 fairies raising a princess, we bet there are a lot of snarky one-liners.
I can't believe it. No.
Lilo and Stitch is one of Disney's most heartwarming films. Lilo is a lonely little girl who is being raised by her sister after their parents passed away. She's always getting into trouble and is in danger of being taken from Nani. She adopts what she thinks is a dog, but it's actually an alien. They heal together, and it's the sweetest. What's not sweet is Myrtle. She's the worst mean girl ever. She's the ringleader of the little girls, and she is awful to Lilo. Lilo can clap back pretty well, but the best quip comes from Myrtle's lackey, Yuki. Myrtle tells Lilo,
I bet that's why your dog ran away. And I also bet that he's never coming back.
Yuki innocently chimes in and says,
Just like Myrtle's dad.
Myrtle is stunned and instantly gets upset.
Quiet, Yuki!
Of course, it's really sad that Myrtle doesn't have a dad anymore, but that's no excuse for being a brat. Girls should lift each other up, not bring each other down. It's such a subtle zinger, and Yuki delivers it so perfectly.
I bet it came to take you-know-who back to Planet Weirdlo.
One of Disney's most overlooked and underrated films is The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and we have to admit it doesn't really fit the mold of a typical Disney movie. It is really dark. Quasimodo is mistreated by the villain. Esmeralda is fighting against racism and violence at the hands of the church, but the movie is just so good. Esmeralda is one of the toughest, fiercest Disney characters ever. She stands up for justice, knowing she could literally lose her life for it. She also falls in love with a soldier, but she can't stand him at first. Esmeralda and Phoebus get into a sword fight. He tries to compliment her by telling her,
You fight almost as well as a man.
Seriously, Phoebus? But Esmeralda just tosses his insult right back at him. She says,
Funny, I was going to say the same thing about you.
You go, girl. Esmeralda has no time for men to think she's anything less than amazing. We love her free spirit and the way she stands up for herself and others.
Give me your hand.
Why?
Just let me see it.
We're wrapping up this list with Disney's Queen of Clapbacks. There is no Disney character who has mastered sarcasm quite like Megara from Hercules. She's not your typical Disney love interest. She is independent and takes charge. She doesn't pretend to be innocent. In fact, she made a deal with the god of the underworld to save her ex. She's as much of a hero as Hercules himself. We find out exactly how sassy Meg is the moment we meet her. She's trying to fight off a creepy centaur, but she doesn't want another man coming and saving her.
I'm a damsel. I'm in distress.
She says
I can handle this. Have a nice day.
Of course, she eventually comes around and realizes that Hercules is different from other guys. But that line is the perfect clapback for independent women everywhere. We love that she's not innocent. She's flirty and jaded, but she really loves Hercules. She really set the tone for the future women of Disney. Which Disney clapback do you think is the most savage? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching The Things. Give this video a big thumbs up. See you next time.